Okay.
Good morning, Doha Heat, and welcome to a special episode of our 4th birthday, Ginger Camel's 4th birthday. And I have in
No, Doha Heat's 4th birthday.
Oh, crap. Can we start again?
Can you start again?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
not Ginger Camel's 4th birthday.
12th birthday.
No, it was 7th, but
7th.
not yet.
But not yet.
But it's Doha Heat. It's just Doha Heat.
Okay,
It's your
Doha
show
Heat. Okay.
at the moment.
Very
Okay, sorry, John.
good. Sorry.
No, fine, listen, crack on.
Okay.
Go.
Good morning, Doha Heat, and welcome to our special edition of today's birthday. It's Doha Heat's 4th birthday.
It's all right, Elizabeth.
Can we fit these in bloopers one day?
Right.
Alright.
Come on, it's not
What
that
am I saying?
difficult.
What am I saying?
Hello, it's the 4th birthday of
Just
Doha
like
Heat.
that?
Yeah, welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and it's the 4th birthday. Why are you laughing?
Oh dear. Look, just because it's a camera, you suddenly changed. Just pretend it's, yeah. Facebook Live.
It's not even there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So come on then. Let's go. All right.
Good morning, Doha Heat, and welcome to our 4th birthday. In the studio, I have with me our special guest.
Stefan. Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. And you've got John Savage, who is the founder of Doha Heat itself. Hi, John.
Hello, Steph. Good to hear from you.
Hi, John. It's my first time meeting you officially.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So, can you believe it's 4 years, John?
Do you know what? When you guys told me, I was absolutely astounded. 4 years, amazing. And I said to you off air, massively impressed with the show.
So, just go back in time, 4 years ago. I don't know if Elizabeth is aware of, or our audience is aware of how Doha Heat started. What was going through your mind when you thought, you know what, I'm going to set up a podcast and it's going to be called Doha Heat?
Funny enough, it came about in the very beginning because the UK media was giving Qatar a negative slice for winning the World Cup. And I was thinking to myself, hang on a moment, I'm living here. This is not as bad as what's being portrayed. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to interview the financial director of Standard Chartered Bank, but I'm also going to interview the lady that runs the Indian nail shop on one of the high streets, and the cab driver in between. But I had no idea how I was going to do that. I just thought, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy a mic, and then I'm just going to crack on. I remember telling you, and you gave me like a very nice, warm look, but equally a bit like, what, really? And of course the pressure was on. I bought the mic and I had no idea what I was doing at all in the slightest, and I was contacting your network, which you allowed me to do, and I was like, oh my god. And I got it all wrong. If I quickly tell you exactly what happened, on the very first day of recording, I sounded amazing, but the person on the other side of the mic sounded like he was in a goldfish bowl about 50 million miles away.
Yeah, so anyone can listen to that. If they go to iTunes, they can actually listen to that first podcast.
Yeah, so of course I had the pressure of the guest not being able to be heard after making his way, taking time out to come to your offices to record. I had the pressure of you running a very good production company, and I was a little man in the middle thinking, what have I done? Why did I do this? Why did I get a bee in my bonnet? I should have just left it alone, and that was it, and never started. But actually, do you know what? I'm really pleased I did, because and obviously 4 years down the road, you guys have kept it going, and it is a really good show. So I'm pleased, massively pleased that I did.
Yeah, no, we're very pleased that you actually started it. We wouldn't be here now. Elizabeth wouldn't be sitting here.
I know, and it's so exciting because I'm an expat too, John, from Leeds.
Okay.
From the UK, and when I came here I thought exactly the same thing as you. I thought, well, for one thing, my dad was worried, so he was like, what are you doing going off over there? So that was one idea. It's like now he's sharing the podcast and he's so proud, and his friends in all over the place in Yorkshire are seeing me, his daughter, on the podcast in Qatar. So it means a lot to me as well, and what it represents.
Exactly. The impression is, I had an Australian couple when I was on the plane. They were going back to Australia, and there was a stop off in Doha, and they were like, "What? This is where you're getting off?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is where I live." And they're like, "What?" And the impression, of course, is, and I'll be honest with you, I felt living in Qatar, I felt more safer living in Qatar than I do actually here, and that was part of the reason for wanting to start the podcast, because there's such a diverse community in Qatar. You know, Steph, you know, I run the Football League. Your company recorded soccer matches for us.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world was looking in. We had between sort of 50 to 70,000 people per week going on our Facebook page, and it was just phenomenal. 133 different nationalities were playing in the league. So many diverse communities, and I just thought, you know, I want the world to know that Qatar is fantastic. It's such a great place to be, and the lifestyle as well. Everything about Qatar for me, my wife, my kids, was just brilliant. And I thought, you know what, this is a really good opportunity to interview all of those nationalities, find out exactly who they are, why they went to Qatar, what do they do for a living, you know, and of course benefit them too. You know, get their voices heard a different way other than paid media or, you know, trying to get interviews with newspapers. I thought a better way to get in contact with people and also create a network as well.
Yeah, and why did you choose podcasts in itself? How did you get introduced to the actual podcast? Because I had never heard of podcasts before you actually introduced me to podcasts.
Yeah, so I think I'm on this mad mission. I have this thing inside my head that I've got to know everything. Yeah, I'm always asking, right, well, how's that work? How's that work? How's that work? And so I'm always wanting to learn from other people, whether that be a very quizzical, warm look that you gave me. I'll learn from that because I think I'll give that to my kids. But equally, it's the how are other people becoming successful? What are they doing?
Yeah.
And so there was a show that still exists today called Entrepreneur on Fire. John Lee Dumas, he has that. But then there were other podcasts as well that I was listening to, which was all basically self-help. So as opposed to buying a book, because I think reading a book whilst driving is probably quite dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous, especially here in Qatar.
Yeah, oh yeah. But listening to podcasts and just having that, right, so how did they do it? How did they do that? How did they do that? How did they do that? And of course, just trying to learn the best things from other people. And then that a lot of it was around podcasting, was also the networking. But the very first podcast I ever tried to record, actually, and of course I had no idea what I was doing, was around the Football League that I was running. And I literally just had my Mac, a pair of iTunes, iPhone headphones in the Mac, press record, thinking that I would be able to create a podcast. No, it didn't work at all. So it was proper pain associated learning. I really had no idea what I was doing. But I wanted to do it. I was sort of like, how do I do it? How do I do it? And so that's how it all came about. And of course, podcast really, a quick 20, 30-minute podcast. I thought somebody could listen to this before they go to work, or someone could listen to a podcast that was recorded 4 years ago now, you know, and actually go back to that and listen to it. But equally, that was really it. It just came about because I was just going from one to the next to the next to the next to the next, and then finding out somebody was doing a podcast, and then I thought, oh right, but what are these podcasts? Entrepreneur on Fire. And I thought, well, if they could do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how.
No, that's what I love about podcasts is you've got a moment in time that's been recorded, and you can go back 4 years to when we first started and actually, you know, listen to people's stories 4 years ago. And, you know, a lot of people aren't even here that appeared on our podcast.
Really?
Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of transition. A lot of people have come and gone. But just the beauty of Doha Heat was the fact that we were interviewing a cross-section of the community. And as you say, it was a podcast where we wanted to tell people's stories, that there were genuine people here in Qatar that were, you know, wanting to help the community and make it a better place for everyone. And
let me ask you a question. Sorry for cutting. Let me ask you a question. Okay. the sound quality, right? You've just referred to it and said, look, go back and listen. How did you feel when those were put up on iTunes?
Embarrassed. No, yeah. I understood that we were kind of pioneers within Qatar, and everyone says when you listen to podcasts, it's just like, just start, just do it, and it doesn't matter about the audio quality, it doesn't matter about the mistakes. You're going to get better, and we did. We basically learned from the first podcast, and we weren't embarrassed, to put it out there, because we were still, people were still telling their stories. Yes, the quality was awful. But after 4 or 5 podcasts, they got better and better. And that's what we were determined to improve. And even now, we're working on it. If you look at the setup now, it's like we're in a proper little studio. Yeah. We've got a proper camera, we've got lights, we've got an audio mixer, completely different to when we first started. We've got a logo on the table for branding. So, yes, it's all changed because... when you went out into the market, a lot of the time people didn't know what a podcast was.
Yeah.
Now when you talk to people, it's very rare that people don't know what a podcast is.
Yeah, completely.
So
I remember that. Would you like to appear on my podcast? It's called Doha Heat.
But
I don't really know, John. Because they, like you say, they didn't know what it was.
No, they didn't know what it was. Now you've got Facebook Live, you've got Instagram Live as well. You've got so many platforms to go out on, and there's different platforms for podcasts to go out on. Everyone's aware of it, so it's easier now to go out and sell for people to come on the show. But also now we're looking at a lot of people want to sponsor the show because yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say. I mean, in addition to wanting to sponsor the show, it's been 4 years now. What's the response been for you guys?
What for
now, from back then to today, in terms of the level of listeners, the amount of conversations that have been created because of the podcast that you've recorded? How has all that been?
Well, I noticed something from my side. I might not have been here from the very beginning, John, but since January, it was always us approaching others, and now I've got people calling me saying, Liz, can you get me on your podcast? Is that all right? Can we talk about it? And I was like, wow, when did that happen? Because that's January, it's June now, right? So January, February, March, slowly but surely, end of March, people were contacting me saying, I've seen your podcast, and I'd like to come and talk about XYZ. And then that's almost like a turn or a milestone in itself, because now people notice Ginger Camel, people notice Doha Heat, they notice what we're doing, and then they come and ask and get inquisitive. So it's definitely giving value. That's one thing that I've been noticing.
Yeah. So another question. So we started off with a mic that wasn't omnidirectional, which I thought it was, and of course the quality was bad. Obviously that improved.
Yeah.
But I've noticed now you've actually got video footage of the guests as well as the actual podcast itself.
Yeah. So that was an initiative that we chose a few months ago to go out on Facebook Live to reach to a different audience, and we wanted to see what the uptake was, and it's been huge, the response, because we put it out on LinkedIn and we've got over 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. So people watching the video, it's been it's great. So, and that's why we've kind of stepped away from like the iPhone recording the actual show to a proper camera, because I think people want to see it in better quality, and they don't know whether it's been recorded on Facebook Live or not. So that's why we're stepping up, and video. I don't know if you know, but video is the number one kind of thing to use on social media. Everyone wants to watch video and see. So, I think it just complements each other. And Elizabeth's very attractive for people to watch. And
very much.
But no, it's like a behind the scenes. We don't really, clean we clean the table, but if you see, you've got the audio mixer. So no, it's been great, and we've taken on Ifat, who looks after our social media. So she's really pushing out the message of Doha Heat and Your Onion podcast, and we've seen a huge response with that.
I was going to say, actually, I do actually, it's really quite pleasurable with, forgive me for mentioning Your Onion, of course, but seeing you and John chatting away, discussing stuff, it's really good. But I'll tell you another thing that's really good as well, and I reckon if there's anyone else that is seriously considering starting a podcast, I think the proof's in the pudding. And the reason I say that is because obviously Doha Heat, you guys have made it a massive success. You've got Your Onion as well, and then of course I'm finding myself on Facebook watching snippets of Your Onion, and then I'm looking at John thinking, wow, John Shannon, what's he up to now? I'm going onto his personal profile page, Facebook page, and then I'm looking at sort of like the weightlifting stuff that he's doing.
Yeah.
And it all of that breeds. And I think if any of your listeners are thinking about doing something, either come and speak to you guys about possibly with any ideas they may have. Forgive me for saying that because I think this is your bag, not mine. But equally, just take inspiration from Doha Heat, because look, we've all got a voice, we've all got a message. There's always a story behind someone.
Absolutely.
There's a lot deeper than normally what we would say to somebody in a park, sitting, or just meeting them on a Sunday for brunch or something. Do you know what I mean? There's a deep ingrained story. How have people been shaped? What have they experienced in their lives to get them to the place that they are either today, either in a negative perspective or a positive perspective. And that's I was watching the podcast you recorded with the Polish lady just recently.
Oh yes.
I can't think of her name. And you mentioned the video, and I was listening to the podcast in the car on the way back from London. But then when I got home, I saw it on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
You were talking about video, and I watched it then. And I thought, wow, I imagine what the lady looked like, but now I'm seeing what she looks like.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. That was a nice experience to see the contrast between them both.
Absolutely. No, but you're right. The whole podcast, or even Doha Heat, it just brings communities together. So you might be your own little bubble, your own expat bubble, and you're only mixed with certain expats. But Doha Heat kind of bridges those gaps. So you actually learn, about other communities, and I think that's what I love about Doha Heat, that it brings different communities together, and you hear an insight of what they're doing or what they're involved with, how you can get involved, and it brings different cultures and communities together.
Different perspectives as well. Do you remember the recycling podcast? Did you hear that, John?
No.
Basically, one of these ladies who decided to clean up the beaches of Qatar. She started just by herself with a plastic bag, wanting to do a good deed, and now she's got 1,500 plus followers within 8 months or something ridiculously low. And everyone comes religiously on a Friday to help her to clean up on the beach. And she just said, if you can't do that, do something basic like order a recycling bin, or just instead of using those small bottles, use one of the bigger dispensers, and it's something easy and effortless that you guys can do right now if you want to.
Yeah.
So I was inspired right then and there. So we're all learning from each other.
Yeah.
No, that's right. And I mean, a message like that is powerful. For you guys, obviously, to give that lady the platform in order to promote and push her message as well is also awesome.
Yeah, to see it grow. When the person comes in initially and tells her story, and then to see the response that we get, it makes you feel proud that you're part of something that is a platform that is able to send out different messages to different communities, and for us all to help each other.
Yeah.
And is that why you kept it going, Steph?
Yes.
What was your reasoning for keeping Doha Heat going?
I always wanted. It's kind of Ginger Campbell's CSR. It's kind of I always felt that I needed to give something back, and if I couldn't give it back in my time, it's something that I could give within, from the company, and always know what's going on in the community, because you find with a lot of production companies, they get so lost looking after their own clients, and they don't know what's going on in the community. And I just felt that keeping Doha Heat was important to know what was going on, and it was a good thing to be involved with. So I always felt it was important. That's why I was always looking for a presenter. And when Elizabeth came in, we had a bit of a lull, because the previous presenter had left and got herself a job, so she didn't have the time. And then Elizabeth came in for an interview on Your Onion.
Yeah, Your Onion, yeah.
And I thought, wow, I think she'd be great. She's just starting up her own business. I think she'd be great to present Doha Heat. So I put it to Elizabeth, and luckily she said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must say it's all very professional. I do actually enjoy it, and it's nice. It's nice to see that it's where it's got to. Yeah, but it's 4 years. But I suppose the question I have, and the question probably your listeners have, is the next 4 years.
Yeah, what's next?
Well, we're launching a new logo. So unfortunately, your logo is being thrown out, and we have designed a new logo. So we'll be showcasing that with this podcast. It looks great. It's fresh. Next 4 years, well, we're becoming the media partner for Red Crescent. So we want to spread their message and showcase what the good stuff that they're doing. So there will be, a lot of kind of partnerships with these organisations, and we're teaming up with the Green Building Society, and so yes, I think more sponsors, bigger guests. I think bigger guests, and just keep on spreading the message, spreading the love.
But it even doesn't matter about bigger guests. It
not
can
at all.
be more awareness.
Yeah.
So
But that's why I wanted to also interview the lady that was running the nail bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
That the lady running the nail bar, I don't know how many reals now it would cost to get your nails done, but I remember then the person necessarily wasn't earning the sort of money that you would think that maybe somebody in the UK would be earning.
Yeah.
And there's also that what she sees through her eyes, what goes through her mind. I wanted to know what was that compared with the financial director of Standard Chartered Bank. So that had been employed, that had been headhunted to go and work for that company, and to see what they both say. And so the common thing that I found was that everybody seemed to be singing off the same song sheet, regardless of the money that they earn. They all enjoy living in Qatar.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just people being politically correct, and that's never what I thought I wanted to show.
No.
I just wanted people to tell the truth. I wanted to get them to say how they felt. Obviously, there was the backdrop of their business and what it was and how they can help people and so on and so forth, but also to get their opinion too. I remember doing a podcast with Doha News.
Yeah.
And I asked the question. I said, "Are you not worried a little bit about maybe what you report on? Should there be any sort of backlash for reporting on something that gets sails a little bit too close to the wind?" And of course, she looked at me. She said, "So I'm an American Muslim," and she said, "I come over here and I was really nationalistic, really fighting for Islam." And she said, when she arrived here, she found the Qataris were looking at her and sort of saying, just chill out a little bit. It's absolutely fine. Everybody's a winner. Listen, it's all cool.
Yeah.
And she said to me that actually no, she was encouraged to sail close to the wind. Not close to the wind, or just tell the truth. She said we would run stories that may take 3 or 4 months to research, but when it was launched, we were congratulated because we had the facts, the actual facts. No one told us or tried to brush everything under the carpet. And I was like, yeah, that is brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic. And that's what, for me, Qatar is. And that's what my main reason for wanting to start that show originally was just to tell everybody, look, you need to come over and just experience it for yourself before you have an opinion.
No, absolutely, yeah. No, and we're so grateful that you had that initiative and you actually launched it in your basic way.
Sorry, Steph. Lastly, for me, I think listeners, the guys listening now, I'm not just saying this, Steph, but you were the best person that I ever worked for. I think your that warm look that you've got on your face, but you still are. You don't mind putting your head through a fence first. You will crack on and do something. You're an ideas man, but also you take your time. You look at things and you go objectively. But equally, I think that as a mentor for me, just the way that you was, the way that you run your business, I thought, yeah, man, I'm in such the right place. So when I left and when I had to tell you I was leaving, that's the last thing I ever wanted to say, because I wanted to stay. But of course, I needed to go at that time in my life. But no, I'm really grateful to you, and I think that listeners, if they are running or thinking about some form of production, some sort of like commercial, some sort of TV stuff that they need doing, I know firsthand that they should be literally contacting you immediately without even a second thought.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Okay, all right. Well, have you got any more questions?
Well, questions no, but I think that thinking about the 4 years ahead, wouldn't it be an awesome time for this to be the first milestone of mentioning our sponsor?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, John, I don't know if you know this, but Ifat and I were treated by Warwick Hotel last week to have a spa treatment for an hour, and then followed by a very yummy iftar at Warwick Hotel. So Warwick's been in Doha since 2012, and it's located in Al Saad. I don't know, have you visited since, or?
I haven't been back since, no.
No way. Okay, so so you wouldn't have known, but it's opened up right next to the sports roundabout.
Okay.
And it's just, I don't know, it was an awesome experience because I had the Balinese massage, and Ifat had some kind of hardcore.
I heard she had some Swedish hardcore massage, which I love.
Yeah, so I put medium, and she's like, right, super strong.
Yeah.
I was like, go on then, have it your way.
No, it's great that you experienced it
Yeah, it was awesome.
firsthand.
Yeah.
So they're sponsoring the show?
They are.
They are
the whole show, they're sponsoring this particular episode.
They're sponsoring this episode.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. No, good for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Certainly in the right place.
Yeah.
and we had a happy winner.
Yeah, we did a contest
on Instagram. And so the winner was able to win an iftar or sahur, depending on what they prefer, for free at the Warwick Hotel. And there's more to come. Maybe a lucky winner can win an Eid breakfast, and maybe even a spa treatment, just like me and Ifat did. So firsthand, anyone who wants to check it out, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But they've got Balinese, they've got Swedish, sports massage. What else did they offer? A mix of all three. I was like, no, it's okay. I'll just go for Balinese. That's all right.
What, you could have had all three?
That's what she said.
Wow.
So
there you go, John. Things are changing.
Yeah, no, do you know what? Fantastic. Well done, guys. Honestly, it's brilliant. And I think, look, the show certainly gives me inspiration anyway to crack on.
No, absolutely. You need to. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And thank you so much for having me on. And congratulations on your 4th year.
All right. Thank you, mate.
thank you.
Well, thank you for watching, and thanks for joining us for our 4-year anniversary.
And thank you guys. Don't forget to follow us on iTunes, and if you're an Android user, then on Stitcher. So, and if you want, you can ask Siri. Say, hey Siri, sign me up to Doha Heat, and she'll take you there.
And watch on YouTube.
All right.
Take care. Thank
See ya.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.